everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show YouTube channel. The best way to support the show on this YouTube channel is to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and or share it with a friend. I hope that you guys enjoy this episode. In whichever way you choose to support the show, I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. I hope that today's message and episode brings some bit of positive change to your life. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show. I am your host, Emily Hayden, and you are joining me for a solo episode. In today's episode, I am going to discuss being incredibly intentional, raising your level of consciousness, as well as let you guys know about a really cool opportunity where I am going to offer a free ticket to the EvolveX retreat. So make sure that you watch and listen all the way through this episode. So first, I want to bring your awareness to the fact that most of what we do on a daily basis is unconscious, meaning you're stuck in these automatic patterns of what you do, what you think, and how you show up for yourself and others in the world. So by having this awareness that most of what we do is unconscious, the goal to creating more consciousness within ourselves, our lives, our relationships, is to start becoming more intentional with how we think, how we behave, how we show up for ourselves and also for other people. There are a lot of different things that can help with this. I think one of the number one things, obviously, is self-awareness, right? You are stuck in these automatic patterns. You're stuck in this unconscious behavior because most of the time you are not self-aware to what your current thoughts, patterns, and beliefs are and how they're shaping your reality. So one of the number one things that I think can really help people become more conscious in their life is increasing their level of self-awareness. There are many different ways that you can do this. There's not just a one size fits all. There's not a one answer to this. There's probably just an endless amount of answers to this, raising self-awareness question. But a few things that I feel have really helped me in my journey is books, reading books or listening to audiobooks. Because if you're unaware to what you're currently doing, sometimes you just don't know until all of a sudden you're reading a section in a book about behavior patterns and attachment styles or communication patterns or defense mechanisms. And you start reading it and all of a sudden you're like, wait, I do that. I didn't know that this was a defense mechanism. I didn't know that in that moment I was shutting down completely and now I'm projecting my own insecurities and things onto other people, right? So by reading that section of the book, all of a sudden you now gained some self-awareness to some of your current thoughts and patterns and behaviors. So reading books can be so helpful. And like I mentioned, audiobooks are great too. I love listening to audiobooks. I love learning. I love growing in my self-awareness. And I think it's really important that as you grow in your self-awareness, you express some self-love to yourself and you really try to become a great observer of yourself, not in a form of self-judgment, but just self-observation. If you can observe, oh, that's actually how I show up in moments of conflict. I show up by getting, defensive and by shutting down and, being, feeling really insecure and allowing that to project onto other people. Don't beat yourself up for it. Don't judge yourself for it. Just observe and say, okay, so what tools do I need in order to start making progress in this area? And notice that I always focus on progress. I don't focus on perfection. I'm not focused on fixing it right now because the truth is that's just not a reality. You are great at what you practice at. So if for your entire life you have been practicing getting defensive and shutting down and doing these things, chances are you can't just snap your fingers and not do those things anymore. Chances are you have to practice a new way of being. You have to practice new habits, new patterns. The next moment you get into conflict, you have to have something that reminds you, hey, this is that moment where I need to practice a healthier way of being. So you can see how I believe that the first step to being more conscious and to changing your unconscious patterns and behaviors, I believe that first step is self-awareness. Like I mentioned, books and audiobooks are a really great way to become aware. Another really great way to become aware is to work with a coach or a mentor or a therapist or a psychologist. all of those people have different jobs for different things. You know, go to a therapist if you want to start doing, you know, some deep inner work on these things. Go to a coach or a mentor if you want to gain some experience from somebody who has maybe walked the path that you're currently walking and wants to simply guide you along different ways and questions and books that have helped them and things like that, to guide you along your own journey, right? So there's different things for different people. So reading books, listening to podcasts or audiobooks, working with a coach or a mentor, having new experiences. Having new experiences can open you up to things that you just didn't know before. And maybe this self-awareness is opening you up to a new passion that you didn't know was there. I think that we all have different moments in our lives that make our hearts feel more alive. So identify what those things are. And if you don't know what they are, a new way to do that is by experiencing new things. Even just by experiencing something more positive in your life, you're raising your level of self-awareness. Self-awareness doesn't always have to be focused on self-awareness of what you would probably view as faults or as room for growth in your life. It can also just be self-awareness to beneficial things in your life or good things in your life. So any way that you can raise your self-awareness, I think, can be really helpful to help you live a more intentional life. And, you know, that's what I'm really focused on helping people do, is just live a more intentional life, whether it's through a podcast or a YouTube video or my EvolveX program. I really want to help people become more intentional, because when you become more intentional and you actually live your life with intention, your life starts to get really good. You start to really understand how much control you do have over how you show up for yourself, how you show up for others. We all know there is so much in this life that we cannot control, but I think sometimes people give too much power to that. I think sometimes people say, well, you know, you can't control life, so I'm just gonna, you know, be bounced around like a pinball to whatever happens in life. I'm just gonna react to everything that happens in life. And I think that's just so not the way to live life, because I think you're not giving credit to how much you can control. Imagine the version of yourself that wakes up, and as soon as you wake up, you're being extremely intentional with what you fill your mind, your body, your spirit with, meaning you are reading something, you are journaling, you are doing some mindfulness like meditation, you are not doing things like immediately scrolling on your phone, immediately consuming things like the news or your social feed, or engaging in, you know, some gossip at work, or engaging in these really like low vibrating types of interactions or conversations. The versions of you that choose those very drastically different options are just drastically different versions of you, which will create and produce different results in your life. Ultimately, it will create an entire different life for yourself. I'm really, really passionate about helping people create the life that they desire for themselves. And I fully believe that it's a partnership between releasing control of the things that you truly can't control and controlling the things that you do have control over, like how your morning goes and how you show up for yourself and for conversations and friends, what you choose to fill your mind with, what you choose to do with your nutrition and feed your body with. Our bodies are the one vessel that we get to walk throughout this life and earth with. And I think that it is just our responsibility, and I think it's our opportunity to treat it in the best way possible, which means sometimes enjoying some cookies because it tastes good and it's great. But most of the time, fueling your body with something that's going to make you feel alive from the inside out, that's going to fuel your mind, your body, your soul in a way that helps you to show up as the best version of yourself. Something as simple as drinking enough water every single day can be such a beautiful expression of self-love, because it means you care so much about yourself that you're going to give your body just the baseline things that it needs to function well. I think the more self-love that we can have in the form of self-discipline, the better our lives will be. I truly believe that. I think it takes self-discipline to drink enough water throughout the day. I think it takes self-discipline to put your phone down and not be scrolling on it, and instead read something that is going to raise your level of self-awareness, or that's going to make you laugh, or that's going to make you feel more seen and more heard than you've ever felt in your life, because it's one of those books that's just speaking straight to your soul. It takes self-discipline to do these things that are so good for us. Most people aren't confused on what it is that they need to be doing, but they lack the self-discipline. They lack the ability to practice discipline in their lives and build it in their lives. And they lack the intentionality behind every single thing that they do every single day. Every single day you are faced with so many different choices all day long, and it's really up to you if you're going to take steps forward and steps towards a more intentional, more conscious way of living, a more loving way of living, or if you're going to take steps away from that. I think you always have to ask yourself, is the decision that I'm making right now, is it more loving? Is it creating more peace, more purpose, more passion in my life? Is it taking me one step closer to a healthy mind, body, and soul? Or is it making me regress? And if you can really be so intentional about each one of those choices every single day, what you can do is, one, make the decision that is in alignment with the life that you desire to create for yourself. Or two, you can also identify when you feel that you don't have the proper tools to make that decision. Meaning, let's say that you're in a conflict at work and you guys are, speaking back and forth, you're communicating, and all of a sudden you realize that there's actually not communication happening, because communication means that you both understand the meaning behind what you were saying to each other. And once you realize that that's not actually happening and you're not getting anywhere, you're not making any progress, the conversation is going nowhere, you can choose to say, okay, pause. We are not actually communicating in this moment, and I don't have the tools that I need to be successful in this moment. So let's go get tools of how to handle this, right? And then you go and you do the work. Doing the work is saying, okay, where can I find these tools and resources that will help me to be successful in this conflict at work or in this conflict at home? If you're a parent and you're really struggling to help your child with this problem that they're having, or you're struggling to communicate in a way that your child understands. Most people were not taught how to be parents. Most people only know how to be parents based on what they experienced, which sometimes was, this is how I want to be. And other times it's, this is exactly how I don't want to be. But oftentimes, you're not taught this in school. So don't put this external pressure on yourself to have everything figured out or to be perfect or to know what to do. Most of us don't know what we're doing. Most of us have to get some outside help, get some outside resources. So if you're struggling in your loving relationship to be loving because you're struggling in this moment of conflict, whether it's a parent relationship or it's a significant other or something like that, then go and search out and figure out those resources that will give you the tools that you need. Just view everything in your life as, do you have the proper set of tools for this challenge that has come in front of you? Maybe it's a business challenge. If you don't have the tools and you've tried everything that you know to try and you're failing, don't stay stuck in a pattern of failure. Failure is only failure if you don't learn from it. Now, if you're learning and growing every time and you're making progress every time, then that's great. Sometimes you have to fail 35 freaking times before on the 36th time you get it right. But there are these things in life that will help us to make so much progress, so much faster than if we just try to do everything on our own from what we already know. Things like that could be the book, the audiobook, a coach, a mentor, a friend, someone that's been down that path that can show us the way. I've really learned in my life that saying that, don't try to recreate the wheel. Don't try to recreate something that already exists out there. Just go out there and get the guidance and the help and the mentorship that you need in order to take the steps towards the desired result that you're looking for. So I think it's really important that we start raising our level of consciousness by becoming more self-aware in our lives. Another thing that has really helped me personally and the clients that I work with to become more self-aware in their lives is self-reflection and creating a daily habit of self-reflection. So one thing that I teach in my EvolveX program is every single day at the end of the day, you identify things that you did really well. So you have to essentially identify your wins of the day. And some days you're going to feel like I don't have any wins of the day because it was just such a horrible day. It was such an off day. I'm in such a bad headspace, or I had this really difficult life thing happen. But you have to answer those questions at the end of the day, no matter what. So at the end of the day, you are forced to have to figure out what was a win. Maybe a win for that day was simply not giving up. And that's not very simple. That's a massive deal. Like if today you simply chose to not throw in the towel, to not give up, that is a win. Other days on a really good day, maybe a win is hitting a PR in the gym, or choosing, maybe in a moment of conflict with your, boss or your coworker or your significant other. Maybe you noticed that this time you chose to show up differently, whereas previously you may have just really quickly responded and barked back, and this time you actually held your tongue. And maybe after that you still didn't respond in the ideal way, but maybe before you've never been able to hold your tongue. That's a win for the day, and that's something you should really reflect on. Now, after identifying your wins, what I have my clients do is also identify, where do I have room for growth today? Where could I have been just a little bit better today? Maybe it's something simple like your fitness and your nutrition, and maybe it's something more serious like a conversation with a loved one, a conflict with someone at work. I keep using those examples because I feel like they're just pretty easy go-tos. But really identifying where do I have room for growth will help you to develop a habit of self-awareness. Sometimes the self-awareness is raised through external factors like the book and the coach and the mentor, things like that. But oftentimes the best self-awareness really can come just from some self-reflection and being brutally honest with yourself. So I think it's really important to cultivate this habit of reflection so that you can build more self-awareness in your life. And then the last thing I have them do at the end of every single day is identify, what are the actions I'm going to take in order to have some growth in this area. So once you've identified, this is the area that I could have growth in, this is something I could do better, what are going to be the action steps for that? Let's say that the room for growth that you had today was in your nutrition. Maybe you didn't hit your nutrition goals and you're really identifying, okay, I really need to make progress in this area. The actionable step that goes with that is, tomorrow morning, I'm going to prep all my meals for the day, and I'm going to make sure that they're packed and ready to go. I'll get up early if I have to, but I will take whatever action is necessary in order to make progress in that way. So once you identify those action steps, then it's on you the next morning to show up for yourself fully and take action on those things that you said you were going to take action on. Cultivating this lifestyle of self-reflection, this lifestyle of intentionality truly is the pathway to the life that you desire. We all desire a life of more freedom, of more love, of more understanding, of being seen, being heard, of feeling proud of ourselves by feeling like we're living a life of excellence. And I think that we just have so much more power in our own two hands and how we choose to show up, not for this big goal that we have, not in the future, not once we are able to sign up for this program or whatever it is, but right now, today, like right now, as you listen to this, you have so much power in what you do next. What are you going to do right after this podcast? How are you going to implement the things that you heard? And what actions will you take to implement those things? And will you do it consistently? Will you continue to do it tomorrow? Will you continue to do it long after this podcast is on? Or are you just going to listen, get really inspired, and then listen to 12 more podcasts this week? There's actually a lot of power in sitting with something and in letting it marinate. Think about when you're cooking and you're letting, the meat that you're cooking marinate, and you're letting the flavor get into it. And then you're taking your time and you're slow cooking it. You're really putting so much effort into it. You're not just trying to cook it as fast as possible, possibly burn it, and then move on to the next thing, right? You're really having intention with how you cook it. So in relation to what we're talking about, when you listen to a podcast like this, even if there's just one thing that really stands out to you that you feel would really impact your life in a positive way, don't just listen to it and let it go. Write it down. After you write it down, say it out loud. After you say it out loud, create action steps that go with that. Take that action every single day. Create a challenge for yourself over the next 7 days or 14 days, however long you want to do it. You have to take that action step every single day. What you're doing is you are creating and cultivating a new habit that is in relation to the thing that you learned on the podcast. And maybe it wasn't something that you learned, maybe it wasn't something new, but maybe it's just something that for some reason it hit you differently today. I really think that is the way to personal growth and personal development, is really changing how you show up right now today. So I really encourage you guys, as your action steps for this podcast, to figure out what that one thing was for you today and to actually put it into action. And then come back and listen to this podcast. Maybe you listen to it once a week just to really soak in and to marinate in on all the things that were said throughout this podcast that may have really touched you, so that you can get the fullness and the depth of the message. Oftentimes, whether it's a book we're reading, an audiobook, a podcast, something that we're coming across, a talk, oftentimes when you first hear it, you're kind of at the surface level and you gain something positive from it, and that's great. But if you'll come back to it, you'll hear things and you'll see things that you didn't necessarily hear or see before. It's kind of like when you watch a movie, the first time you're like, wow, that was such a good movie. And then the second time you watch it, you're like, oh, I didn't pick up on that last time. And the third time you watch it, there's all these new things, or you catch a mistake that the movie, the producers didn't edit out or something. I always love doing that for some reason. But you see things that you didn't see before. You hear things that you didn't hear before. Maybe the first few times you were just priming yourself to the overall generalized topic. But no matter what you are ingesting, if you will look for the width and the depth of the message, there's always more. There's always so much more to it. It depends on the level of intentionality, the level of focus, and the level of effort that you're willing to put into it. So that's today's overall message. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that I'm going to offer an opportunity to get a free ticket to the EvolveX 2022 retreat. And this is actually what I've decided to do for that. So right now we are mid-September, which means that we're about to approach October. And when October comes, we have the last 90-day cycle of 2021. Guys, how in the world are we already at the last 90 days of 2021? I feel like that year just absolutely flew by. And I hope that you guys have been really intentional about how you're showing up for yourself, for your goals, and for others in your lives. I hope that you have lived every single day being the most excellent version of yourself. But if you haven't, I really want to raise your awareness to the fact that you have one more shot of that throughout the rest of this year. So what we are doing in the EvolveX program is we are opening up one last coaching cycle, so a few last coaching spots for 2021. These will be the last clients that we take throughout the rest of the year. And what we're doing is this coaching cycle, you guys are going to start on October 1st. You guys will end 90 days later on December 31st. And our goal with this cycle of clients is to take people who are fully dedicated and fully committed to becoming the next best version of themselves. They are fully choosing to evolve in their lives. We're going to take you and we're going to guide you throughout the rest of 2021 so that come January 1st, 2022, you are just light years ahead of where you would have been if you were to choose to do it by yourself. So we are accepting clients. If you guys haven't heard of my EvolveX program, it is a 90-day lifestyle mentorship, coaching, fitness, and nutrition program. So yes, of course, you are going to focus on your fitness and nutrition. You're going to be working with a one-on-one coach for that. But the real meat of the program and where this program really just stands out from any other program is the mentorship that's involved in it. So the 90-day course is split into 12 weeks, and we have 12 different topics. And in those topics, we have subtopics of things that we cover in the mentorship section of this program. I will briefly just read the generalized descriptions, but just so you know how it works, when you sign up, each week you're going to have an audio lesson that you listen to. Some weeks you have multiple audio lessons. You can just imagine this as a podcast that I created specifically for the EvolveX course. And every single week you'll listen to it, and then you have journal prompts that help you to dig deeper and to apply what you just learned into your own life. Week 1 is on excellence versus perfection, discipline, creating personal habits, time and energy management. Week 2 is setting specific goals, and then a note on financial freedom. Week 3 is finding your passion and purpose. Week 4 is victim mentality versus growth mentality, going from a job, career to a calling, and identifying your core values. Week 5, evolving as a way of life, gratitude, and the 4 agreements. Week 6 is identifying limiting beliefs and creating new truths for yourself. Week 7 is believing in yourself and decision making. Week 8 is honoring yourself and having healthy boundaries, also self-awareness. Week 9 is failure versus success and how you identify to those things. Week 10 is on spirituality. Week 11 is on identity. And week 12 is on your operating system, vision, clarity, and direction. So if you have the goal to be more disciplined in your life, to practice excellence, to truly love yourself, to learn more about yourself, to set big goals and actually go after them, to finally see yourself in the same light as others see you, to believe in yourself so much that your dreams actually start to become your reality, to live out your passion, to develop daily habits that will allow you to make strides towards your goals instead of treading water, to have inner peace despite your circumstances, to stay positive even through the toughest of times, to really learn what living in a lifestyle of gratitude is like, and to learn and practice manifestation of your goals and dreams, then Evolve is going to be a program for you. EvolveX is the program that will help you transform from self-judgment, overwhelm, and negativity to confidence, excellence, and winning on the daily. So if you are somebody that is ready to say goodbye to your excuses and to fully show up for yourself and to really do the work of what evolving entails, evolving is not cute and it's not pretty, but what it produces is one of the most beautiful things in the world. So I want you guys to know right off the bat that we are not accepting everybody. We have an application process now where I'll link the application process below. You can go and sign up for the application. And once you do that, if we believe that you're an ideal fit, then we will contact you and hop on just an initial phone call. So on that phone call, we'll discuss the program, discuss your goals, and see if this is the right solution for you at this time. But I will say that we're going to be really intentional about this last group of clients that we're taking through, because we are going to be doing it as individuals, but also as a group. So we'll have a set number of clients that are going to be starting on the exact same day and ending on the exact same day. And so with that, we really seek to cultivate just such a killer mentality, such a killer group of people that are no excuses, 100% in. They're going to give their 100% effort. They are promising to show up not just for themselves, but for their coaches and also for the community. So we really are being intentional about creating this community of people that is just going to be on fire for every single thing that they're going after in their individual lives, as well as showing up for other people. Because, we've done this before and we've seen that when we do this cycle of people that are really aligned with their core values and really aligned with the amount of effort that they put into the things that they sign up for, we know what kind of results that creates, and we're really excited for that. So I wanted to mention that because we are taking clients and taking their applications now. If you are interested, please fill out an application and we will do our best to get to you within 24 to 48 business hours, Monday through Friday. And what we're going to do is we're going to take somebody on December 31st after everybody is finished through this cycle. We are going to look at who we believe gave the most effort and kind of like the MVP of the group. We're going to identify somebody, and that's going to be the person that gets the free ticket to the EvolveX retreat in 2022, which I will have some really exciting updates for you guys very shortly about. So that is going to be the way that you get qualified to possibly win the free ticket. And again, we are not looking for perfection. What we're really looking for is just full maximum effort. If you will promise to show up and to keep showing up, even if and when you feel like you fail, even if and when you feel like you had a bad week or a bad weekend, we just expect you to show up as a transparent, vulnerable, honest version of yourself. If you'll do that, we will meet you exactly where you're at and we will help you get through whatever it is that you're going through. So I also want to mention that this program clearly is going to be throughout the holidays. Do not allow that to stop you or to limit you from believing that you can participate in this program. We actually are really passionate about helping people create a healthy lifestyle for themselves. Yes, even in the midst of holidays. So we will not expect you to track macros on Thanksgiving and on Christmas or on these holiday days. But what we will help you do is create a lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle that allows you to enjoy these days with no guilt, with no, making up for it the next day or anything like that. Our goal is to help you enjoy these with a stress-free mentality and to provide more freedom in your life so that you can enjoy these days, feeling good about yourself, knowing full well that the next day you're going to simply go back to your healthy lifestyle. So our goal is not to create extremes of being on program versus off program. Every day you're on program. Even on the holidays, you're still considered on program because that is part of a healthy lifestyle. Part of a healthy lifestyle is enjoying Thanksgiving with no guilt attached to it, enjoying Christmas with your family. What we will help you do, though, is not turn the holidays into a holiday season where for 3 months of your life, you're just, treating yourself badly. You're not valuing yourself enough to really pay attention to your fitness and your nutrition. So we will absolutely help make this the best holiday season that you've ever had. You are going to grow so much more than you ever have in your life. And again, it's going to be the last few clients that we take for 2021. So this is going to be a really special round. We're really excited to end the year strong and to start 2022 just with such a powerful force of leaders. We have found that the people that are drawn to this program truly are people that are developing into such beautiful leaders in their own community. I have noticed that, we have been really honored to have a lot of active military members in our programs, both men and women, some veterans as well. And it's something that I think is really cool. I feel really honored that I get to help those people grow and develop into even better versions of themselves, even better versions and leaders in their own communities. I think that's a really special thing, and I don't take that lightly. We have a lot of people in the police force as well. So it's interesting to me to really just notice the community and group of people that we're cultivating in this EvolveX program. So I would love for you guys to fill out an application. If anything that I discussed in this is calling on you or pulling on your heart, I believe it's up to you to put yourself in that uncomfortable scenario of feeling the fear and doing it anyways, feeling the fear of, oh God, this makes me really nervous. I'm not sure if I should really be doing this, and just simply doing it anyways, taking that chance on yourself, believing in yourself enough to invest in yourself. Investing in yourself is one of the most valuable things, and another expression of just pure self-love, like valuing yourself enough in order to invest in yourself, in your mind, in your heart, in your body, and your soul. For myself, I am always looking for what is the next way I'm going to invest in myself. I personally invest in coaching programs and mentorship and therapy and just any educational thing I can do, just the next way that I can invest in myself, because the more that I invest in myself, one, it's the ultimate form of self-love, I believe, but two, it makes me so much better for everyone that I'm attached to. So I'm actually doing other people a favor by first investing in myself. It's not selfish. It's actually necessary to your journey of evolving. And I've really found that every time I've invested in myself, it's what it has produced has just been so beautiful, and it absolutely overpours to everybody that I love and care about and whose lives I have the opportunity of being a part of. So I really encourage you guys to consider signing up for this if you feel that you are ready to give your 100% maximum effort. Reminder, that doesn't mean perfection. It means maximum effort. So let me know if you guys have any questions at all. You can always reach out to my Instagram. I'm happy to answer questions, but go to the links down in the description notes and in the show notes. You'll see the link for all the information for the program. So please read through that whole page. There's so many questions that are answered just by reading that page. And then if you're ready to apply, go ahead and send in that application. And if we feel that you're a great fit, the Evolve team will be reaching out to you to get on that initial phone call to see if this is the step that is right for you in your life and where you're at right now. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, if it provided any value to you at all, please do me a favor and share it on your Instagram stories, text it to a friend, rate and review the show, do all the things to help the show grow. I would just genuinely appreciate that. And if you're still listening and you're not a part of, or you're not interested in the coaching program, or it's not right for you right now, I just want you to know that I will forever and always do my best to provide this kind of content for you guys on my podcast and on my social media outlets. Evolving for me is a lifestyle that I've chosen for myself. So I will always outpour that to you guys every single way that I can. The EvolveX program is just the full-on immersive, intensive program for people that are ready to do that for themselves. So whichever way you choose to evolve with me, whether it's on the podcast or in a coaching program or at the Evolve retreat, I just want to say I'm so honored to get to be a part of your journey of evolving, and I can't wait to one day hear your story about how you've evolved in your life. So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope I will see an application from some of you within the next, few days or so, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next podcast or YouTube video. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.